What's going on, guys? What would Vinny do? I'm real excited about tonight's guest. I got my man Giorgio Giacinto, born and raised in the Bronx by his parents who were originally from Calabria, Italy. Upon graduating from high school, he got a grant to attend a New York restaurant school to study becoming a chef. After having a few brief stunts in various restaurants, Giorgio decided to open up a DJ and catering group called Renaissance Entertainment, while simultaneously being a physical ed teacher and coaching basketball. Hard to find a job, so Giorgio took a job at an American restaurant. After some time, the owners gave him the opportunity to incorporate his Italian expertise into the menu. From there, he never looked back. He was able to open his own place, the Giorgio, named after his father. In August of 2017, Giorgio appeared in an episode of the Food Network's Chopped. Pleasure to have you here, my brother. What's going on?
Everything's awesome, man. Pleasure to be here. Excited.
Good. Cool. So I'm going to tell you, I told you a little bit about the show, and it's just about people like going after their passion. Obviously, you're doing that, and I like to actually start from the beginning and just talk about growing up in the Bronx. I obviously grew up in the Bronx. I loved it. Most of my people on grew up in the Bronx, and it's a cool thing to see people from the Bronx doing their thing. I love it. So tell me about growing up in the Bronx and what it was like for you.
Growing up in the Bronx, it was unique in a way where it's still one of the biggest melting pots in all the country, and easy to fall in love with food. Growing up, I didn't go to restaurants very much. My parents cooked.
Of course. You can't, nothing compared to the food at home. You would go, you're not allowed to eat meatballs. I went through the same stuff.
There was not many restaurants. When we did go, I wasn't allowed to see the menu, so they did the ordering for us. Yeah. My mother would get one meatball, we split it up between the four of us. So we eat when you go home, don't worry about it. So, but food obviously played a major part in everything we did.
Of course.
Just the family gatherings, just always just a ton of food. I mean, you see comedians doing, cliche jokes about, soprasad hanging up in the closets, and just food and family everywhere.
So how many were you of your?
So it was two boys and 2 girls.
Okay.
Yep. So when dinner came out, it was a little bit of a fight to get a chicken cutlet.
So, but dinner at the same time every night, you got to go home and sit like me, probably, right?
And that's
And I love that, and I try to incorporate now. It's hard now the way we are, but I love that tradition, the Sundays, and I try to bring it back.
That's the only probably downside. I mean, listen, there's some downsides of owning your own place, but with the restaurant business, we don't get to do it too much. On Mondays, my day off. It's family day. We definitely sit down, whether we go out to eat or we sit down at the house. It is very important that we get down, and no electronics, nothing like that. But I remember my father used to take the phone off the hook, and for that time being, I mean, it was just
dinner,
sit down, dinner.
And was your father old school Italian like mine, where your mother did everything?
My mother did everything.
Mine too.
Old school, but we weren't allowed to have ketchup or mayonnaise in the house. Like it was like that.
Dude, you know what I always remember? Like my mother would make these 4-course meals, and I'd be like, "Why do we have to eat this? Like my boys eating McDonald's," and I envy like people eating that. And then I think back, like, what was I nuts?
You should have seen my lunches at Mount St. Michael. I used to take the tinfoil and I peek underneath the tinfoil to see if it was some freaky thing that kids
are gonna make fun of you.
All the other kids be like, "Yo, man, she got some shit in his bread." I was Nutella with bread. It was like they didn't know what that. Why are you eating chocolate with bread? What the hell is that? But yeah, we did all that, and then cheese sandwiches with the marinated eggplants, and I'd be eating it, knowing how delicious it was,
right.
But at the same time, I don't want nobody to see this sandwich, but yeah, we always had something to eat.
For me, a big adjustment is right now, it's like you get older, and we were talking about it before, and you worry about being healthy, and you're used to growing up, eating big bowls of pasta, 3-course meals, and now you're going to have a little portion. It's hard to adjust when you do that all your life growing up,
so
right?
Hard to adjust, man. I don't even eat that much pasta nowadays.
Right.
Pasta with the bread.
Exactly.
After you eat the pasta, you dip in the bread.
I'm going to restaurants saying I don't want the bread. Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
The things you enjoy in life, you can't even do it.
It's like the joke when they say, you go to a restaurant and say, "Yeah, listen, hold the bread, but let me get 2 martinis and
exactly.
Hold the bread, but I'll take that martini or extra olives, please." But yeah, I mean, and then being in the Bronx. Not only was my household like that, all my friends that I grew up with were all Italian, And if I just finished eating dinner at my house, I would go to my friend's house and they would stuff in my face, and it'd be like, it was just always food, family, friends, running around, and just that fast-paced life. Right. It almost like fit right in. It was an easy transition. Growing up, always running around, no schedules, just trying to make the best of a bad situation all the time.
Did you eat in the basement like I did? Like, how you
summertime was basement time.
Sleep upstairs.
Yeah. Summertime was basement time. The air conditioners didn't work too good, so it was cooler in the basement. Yeah, absolutely.
I remember having like parties in my basement, like 50 people, and like you said, with chicken cutlets, and like my confirmation party. Yeah. You see the pictures? There was like 30 of us.
Even just tablecloths back in the day. People use tablecloths. You don't see too much of that. Right. You don't go to somebody's house. You don't see too many of those big fancy tablecloths. When I eat at my house every Monday, my wife's like, do I really have to take the tablecloth out? I'm like, damn right, you have to take the tablecloth out. Come on, we're eating dinner. Use the tablecloth. Especially for my arms on the friggin' marble. My arms, they're all cold. Yeah, I got some old school values that, like, my kids will look at me like I'm a little nuts. My wife doesn't quite get it, but she did get some of it with her father. But there's just certain things that I don't even realize I'm doing it until somebody looks at me crooked, where I'm just like, oh, I am pretty old school Italian, but I like it, and I won't change it for the world.
Of course.
Yeah.
So you talk about Calabria, right? And so cooking, as far as cooking in that style of Italian, it's different than other styles of Italian. Could you explain that?
It is. I actually, when I decided I was going to really take this to the next level, I went to Calabria to live. So my plan was to stay there for 6 months, and then and I always spoke Italian, but just to really hone the skill of speaking a little bit better, I figured I'd stay in Calabria for a while with my family.
How old were you when you did that?
25.
Okay. Yeah. But as far as when you were a kid, when was the point where you thought, like, did you cook as a kid, or when did that hit you?
No, not too much.
It wasn't a dream as a kid.
No, unfortunately, it became more of so I was always in the restaurant business, and we were always very good at it.
Well, your family was in it.
No, just when I was 13 years old, I wanted a summer job. My father got me a job at Joe Nina's.
Okay, I remember Joe Nina's.
So I worked there, and watching him work and how meticulous he was about every little thing, it made me excited to go to work. So I knew I liked the business. Then after that, the following year, I got a job working at the New York Athletic Club. I had a very good in there, and they took a big liking to me. And I was...
When you say working, what? Like
I was doing busboy and waiter. I was doing the busboy, but I was waitering the catered events inside.
Which, as a kid, you could make a lot of money off the book, right?
Oh, that's what? So that's 1996. My checks in the summer were coming home with $1,100-$1,200.
Nice.
There was some
you can't spend it.
There was some summers where I was paying for the family's summer vacation with that job.
That's great.
Yeah, it was like a real good money. Then my father passed away in 94, so I guess I was wrong with the years. I guess we're working more like 90. When he passed away, I just right from there I said, I think culinary school is my best move. I'll go there. That's senior. I was 17.
Okay.
So 17 years old, I figured the right move is you go there, you do the schooling, you get an associate's degree, they place you on a job, and I got the grant, so it was just the right move. I figured I could go to work right away and start helping out my mother and the family and everything like that. So I can't say I was like forced into it because we were already working in the restaurants.
But were you a good cook at this point? Did you consider yourself?
I don't think so. No, more of a server, more on the other side of the business.
Okay.
Yep. And with the DJing and all the entertainment, I knew how to make people happy. I knew what people wanted.
So talk about that business for a little. What was that like?
The DJing?
Yeah,
was the best.
So it was kind of you mixed DJing and catering together. Mm-hmm. How did you do that?
Yeah. So the catering part, I mean, look, you asked me if I cooked good growing up. I guess it was so natural. To me, it was like if you didn't know how to make a meatball, you were a dumbass.
Right.
So to me, it was like, all right, meatballs, chicken cutlets, chicken marsala, parmesan, lasagna, risotto, all those things. Yeah, we know.
But you're doing it from what? Like my mother cooked all that stuff. I didn't pick it up. Like I just wasn't paying attention.
You know what?
I was thinking about playing basketball.
Sunday mornings, she would put out. Just say if she made lasagna, she would put out the sauce would be in one bowl, the ricotta, the chopped meat, the peas, the mozzarella would be shredded, and then I would put it together. So from there, we started the meatballs here, chop up the parsley.
How about your brothers and sisters? Were you more involved in that?
What? I think my brother and I were pretty involved with the cooking. My brother probably more just so he could get his hands on the food as fast as he could.
But that's interesting because you think in an Italian family, you would think it was the woman, right? Because they tell the woman to cook, and like when we were old school like that,
they cleaned up.
Right. Okay.
They cleaned up.
You helped the cook.
Everybody had their part.
Okay,
yeah.
That's great.
I mean, don't get me wrong. My sisters are both fabulous cooks, so they obviously picked up stuff along the way also, and I can't say they didn't help. But I know my mother was very, no business, no messing around.
Okay.
We had, you didn't call them chores back then, but we had to do our house duties, or you couldn't leave the house.
And this was where, Mark? You were living in Marshall?
I lived on East Chester Road, Mickle Avenue, Mickle and Mace, between Astor and Waring. And I have a funny story. Like, my friends used to come knock on the door. Come on, can Giorgio and Frankie come out and play? And my mother used to say, no, they got to clean the shits. And they'd be like, what? Clean what? His shits? They shit in the bed? She said, no, the shits. She said, what are you talking about? The shits. I'm like, I got to clean my sheets. I got to fix my sheets on my bed. They're like, the shits. And we had a goof growing up with my mother and stuff like that. And
do you kind of take that same approach with your kids? Because my kids don't clean the sheets. They don't clean shit.
They don't clean the shit. They don't clean the shit.
Yeah, I need to start enforcing that.
My wife says Gracie's a slob in her room. My son is pretty neat for the most part, and he's very meticulous about his stuff. He loves his stuff, and he likes to keep it neat. But that's why I bring him to my mother's house as much as I can, because she even says, like, and they love her to death. Is
she still cooking?
She is.
Nice.
She is. And
how old?
My mother's 66. She's not really that old. She's still a young woman.
Nice. Yeah.
But she's like the only person really left with that Italian heritage that could really bring that to them. Even just the food and showing up to Nona's house and eating and always there being food around. Like, if my wife doesn't cook, there's nothing in the house besides junk. There's no like Tupperwares of food and like my mother's house. You go there, you have the pickled eggplants, pickled artichokes. You got sopressata. You got different cheeses. And,
you remember my mother do the olives in the jar?
You got olives. Yeah. You can go in the fridge and have a meal for weeks upon weeks. Where in my house, if it's not leftovers or processed food,
right,
then there's nothing in the fridge.
Gotcha.
So that's one thing that I love. And they know exactly where to go on my mother's refrigerator. They know exactly. You got the quinotos on the bottom shelf, the aranciatas on the shelf right below that. You got the sopressata and the cheese right above that. My daughters, they know where to go for the food. That's
great.
Sure.
I gotta tell you, my mother's older. My mother's in her 80s. And
is she really?
Yeah, I miss that. I mean, her cook, she don't even cook it. You know what I mean? It was.
You still have any aunts that are around that?
Yeah, my aunt in Connecticut, my mother's younger sister. We go there. She cooks, but it's kind of.
It's sad how fast and there's an end to it. There is an end to it. Thank God. I mean, listen, I adore my wife and she's amazing and everything is beautiful. But my sisters will carry on that tradition more for my kids than even myself or my wife can do.
But it's not even her fault. It's just the way life is, the work and everything.
And she wasn't raised that way.
Right, I got you.
But my sisters will be, and it's great. They call it Zizi and Zia and stuff like that. So, there's some correlations in between what we're doing. Hopefully, as they grow up, they'll still have some of that. Because I'm telling you, in life, what we're doing today and everything, it has a big part of how we were raised and how we grew up, and 100%. We had to be, somewhat independent. I mean, our parents had to be money. They had to put food on the table. It wasn't easy for them to do it. And sometimes, we didn't have, that close of an eye. Like,
but that's what I was gonna say. So do you feel like that now it's so different? Like my mom, something happens with your kid, instantly. Like my mother and father weren't that involved in my life.
Not at all.
With the things that were
not at all. You think my father knew my teacher's name?
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
No way. I don't even know if somebody.
But is it better this way or better that way? That's what I'm trying to figure. Like you said, you want to be protective of your kids, but you gotta eventually they're gonna need to do it on their own.
If my son grows up and is the man I am, I'll be happy with it.
That's it.
So I don't know.
Right.
Hopefully, I don't know. The truth will be told sooner or later.
You're right.
But I'm trying. Right. Like when people tell me something, I try and listen and then try and use that to parent, like if somebody ever told me, oh, you got to lay off a little bit, I would listen to that. I definitely wouldn't just be like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Go parent your own kids.
Right.
I definitely would listen to anybody's advice, and I try and pick and choose it. Again, I hate to be the mama's boy, but I am big time mama's boy.
Right.
I listen to what she says, and then it's important. They do need discipline, and they do need structure, and I just wish that they had a little bit more street smarts.
That's the thing. Yeah,
they don't have it. Where are they getting it?
Yeah, I agree.
Where are they getting it? Are they going to 144 to play a basketball game? No. Everything's got a whistle and a coach and a ref, and it's just not there. And that's unfortunate.
Waterbury, I played for days, like hours, days.
You met people.
Yep.
You got tough.
Yeah, you're right.
You learned skills.
Yeah.
Where are you getting that nowadays? So that's a void that I don't know, man. I got to sit down one day and try to figure out how I'm going to teach.
Maybe they won't need it anymore because nobody has it.
Because no one has it.
Exactly.
Right? And if they could have just a little.
Yeah, they'd have the advantage.
They're gonna have a leg up.
Yeah.
So that's another thing, man. I'm totally awesome about living in the Bronx. Everybody, every day, when you moving. I don't know. When are you moving? I'm not moving. I like it here.
I'm with you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love it here. You have everything you need. We have plenty of restaurants. I'm close to the restaurant. And I like the fact that it's still a melting pot. I don't want to be surrounded by just, one group of people.
Exactly.
I like it.
Yep. So you go to culinary school, and right off the bat, you're like, this is for me. I love it. Or how was that? Was it tough? Like, what is that like? What you're cooking, and they're judging you on how you cook. They teach you how to cook. Is that? So, and you do regular classes while you do the cooking?
It was like 4 hours in the morning was cooking and baking, and then 4 hours in the afternoon was restaurant management.
So they actually teach you how to run, not just cook, but how to run the restaurant.
Yeah, you do the legal.
Where is it? The one up north?
It was 78th Barrack Street.
Oh, in Manhattan. What are the ones up north, like culinary? Like people say you go in restaurants, and people told me it's good to go eat there. I was gonna go.
It's an amazing, amazing place, and if you can afford it, and you can.
No, I mean I was gonna go to have dinner. I was gonna take my girl to have dinner.
Sure.
I heard the cooks come out there and they treat you like.
When I tell people I haven't been there yet, they look at me like,
really?
How could the chef not have been there yet? And I just never.
What is it? There's 2 or 3 of them.
There's an Italian restaurant, a French restaurant,
and there's a pastry one. Yeah. Someone was just telling me about this.
Then I heard there's a place for you to stay at night, not there, but like close by.
Oh, that's pretty
I heard
cool.
the whole experience is off the charts, and you have all these very talented young chefs, along with a master chef. You can't get a job in that school unless you're like. It's usually the best of the best that want to retire. They go there, and they're doing it for the love of what they do. They're not doing it for the money at that point. So you get really, really passionate people teaching these young, students. It is.
But was yours the same way? Was it similar?
Yeah, my chef had just retired from the Waldorf Astoria. My chef from my school. And he was amazing. He was amazing. But again,
so the chef is like your professor.
I was a clown. I didn't take anything seriously. I really didn't.
But you made it through.
I made it through just the way I made it through everything else. But I mean,
so just so we understand, like when you're in a school like that, are you trying to come out with good grades? Like, do you get graded on your cook? That's how you get the grades, by how you cook. Like how does it work? Tell me.
That school to me, your grades weren't going to land you a better job. What they prepared you there for was $34,000 a year. If you miss 2 days, you get kicked out of the school and you lose any money that you already paid towards the school. So what they prepared you for was, you going into this field, you don't miss days, you always have to be on time, you have to plan ahead, and you have to be somebody that has structure.
Teach you how to be a professional, right?
That I thought was the biggest thing that I got out of that school. The cooking part was cool and stuff like that, but it wasn't really the things that I wanted to do. I mean, my first.
So you're cooking whatever they tell you to cook, right?
Yeah, you basically, they give you a menu in the morning, he goes over it, then you take the sheet of paper with you to your station. You usually have a buddy that you're cooking with, you do it, you get graded on the dish, how you prepared it, and where your bounoise cut right, your julienne. So as you go, you're doing the recipe, but they're doing recipes that have different techniques in it. So that day, you would. We had to do, like, one class was the 5 mother sauces. and one person made the bechamel, and the other one made the tomato sauce, the other one made demi-glaze, and then you put it together. Everybody tastes it and stuff like that. So you didn't get to make every little thing. I don't know how
is that
big
a
that
known
school
thing? The
was.
five Melissa's? I never heard that.
Yeah, I think so.
Really?
Yeah.
People
yeah.
know that.
Yeah.
Common people know that.
Oh, if you ask 10 people, maybe 4. Yeah, I don't know.
So what is that?
That's a good one.
Those are the,
So you gotta put down.
those the 5.
The
What?
5 mother sauces are
Means
basically
what?
the sauces that, if you have those 5 sauces in your restaurant, now you have the base to make
Everything.
so many different.
Oh, that's cool. And what are they again? Let's see.
You got your demi-glaze, chicken stock. I hope I remember that. Bechamel, tomato, and velouté.
Okay.
Yeah.
And through those 5,
through those 5, you should be able to make just something simple like a bouillabaisse. Just because somebody said it the other day.
So you take one of those, we'll make that.
You're gonna on that.
You'll know which mother to go to, which one to use.
You're gonna use your tomato and your velouté. So you have a fish stock and your tomato, and you get those 2, and you have a nice fish broth with a little tomato in there. You know what I mean? Italian cooking, if you use your tomato sauce, you want to make it pink, you use the tomato, the bechamel, now it's pink.
That's cool.
So, you know what I mean? They have those, demi-glaze, you got to make all your marsalas and those type of, especially in an Italian restaurant. I mean, in front of me, I got chicken stock, demi-glaze. I mean, we use those basically in everything.
That's interesting.
And that's one thing that I think a lot of restaurants, it's the simplest thing.
Really? It's the detail.
May separate me from other restaurants. People use the powder. I'm not trying to be a jerk on air and tell them what people do.
Right.
But we still go through, and that's maybe because I went to the school and it was one of those.
So what do you mean, not a real sauce?
So to make the demi-glaze, you need veal bones, which they used to give you for free. Now you have to buy them. You get the veal bones. You roast them in the oven. They get really, really dark, that beautiful dark brown. Then you put wine in there, and then you cook them down. You get that beautiful, dark, rich sauce. That's the base for all your sauces. Now they have a powder
people
that
are
you
trying
can
to
mix
cut
without
costs.
water.
Other people are
Cut costs. Some people say they do
time.
Consistency.
Okay.
That's the big.
Put the word.
They put consistency because they know it's the same every time. It's to cut cost and time.
Okay.
Time, I think, is
So I remember my brother's pizzeria, and people would try to buy the cheaper cheese, and all of a sudden the pizza's oily. Is this similar to what you're saying, right? And you want to save money, but then it's not quality of the product anymore. So you
1,000%. There's a restaurant in our area right now. Changed hands. So I know the people that bought it, and we were talking, and he told me his plan, and I said, "Be careful. Be really, really careful. There's other places to cut. You know what I mean? Watch how the guys are using the soap. The dishwasher soap is extremely expensive. If you have a dishwasher that's half a dummy that just came from Mexico, he doesn't understand. A cap is enough. Some guys use a cup. Now, at the end of the week, that can be $40, $50, where you can use that $40, $50 to buy the good cheese instead of pouring 6 gallons of soap into the water for no actual apparent reason.
So in other words, you don't want to cut costs on the food.
Something don't on the food.
Use the soap now.
People know.
Right? Yeah.
Nowadays, back in the day, you can get away with it. There's even a chef that I follow that I kind of follow his model. It's not about buying cheap food and fixing it up. It's about buying the cheaper cuts and cheaper things that need more work and more love to get it to taste to a certain point where you're like, wow, that's amazing. But some people don't want to go that far into the work.
So it's a matter of effort now, money, there's a bunch of things.
But now if you're willing to put in the effort, the time, going around, shopping around, getting the ingredients that you want, you can make it happen. Some restaurants just buy top quality. They get they save all the money on the guy that's putting it together. They figure, hey, I'm buying the best piece of food you can buy. I'll put it on the grill. I'll serve it, drizzle it with olive oil. It's good to go. It's going to be a good dish. It will be a good dish. You get other people that don't want to have a real chef because they don't want to pay, and that's where they'll go and they'll start buying chicken base and veal base and cheap mozzarella and just start putting things together. But I'm telling you, one thing I've noticed with the interest of food and the cooking channel and blogs and podcasts and all these things that are going on, people know food, and you cannot fool anybody. So I'm talking, like I said, get back to that. I'm talking to the guy who's telling me, I tell him, be careful. Ever since I had this discussion with this guy, I feel like everyone's like they knew I had this discussion with them. Like, have you been to so and so? Food's terrible now. All of a sudden, I don't know, the cheese is different and this, and I'm saying to myself, I don't think this. They noticed.
Right.
They noticed. I would never dare to tell them.
Right.
Well, I spoke to the guy, yes, because he changed all his products.
Right.
I just couldn't believe it, how I spoke to him in a week.
Well, you told him not to do it.
I told him not to do it. I told him, I said, bro, anything I can do to help you, I will help you.
Right.
Don't change the things, especially for a place that's been around for X amount of years.
Right.
They will know. They will know. I did something, oh my goodness, what was it? Something very simple last week in the kitchen.
What, we switched something versus what?
Man, what did I do? If you give me 30 seconds, I will remember. It was something so simple, and I never do it.
But what do you mean? Like you tried to cut a corner and you did
I don't think it was cutting the corner. It was more time.
Okay, so you put less into it, and then it didn't play
I think
out.
it was a piece of meat that I knew was overcooked. And I put it out, and I said, 9 times out of 10, the person's not going to know. Sure enough, it came back, and it happened to be a very important person. So that's 2 things I did wrong. First of all, like they say,
an important person to you is a steady customer, right?
Everybody's very
important. I understand.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
It is cliche. Oh, everybody's important.
Right.
Of course. You want to try it.
Of course. I try to say with my clients. Yeah, of course. But you have advocates who.
This was somebody that was going to tell a lot of people.
Right.
So
okay.
Important in the way where it could
hurt
really
detriment.
Hurt. Yeah. Where a good customer sometimes would just be like, Giorgio, make me a new one.
Right.
And it wouldn't be a big deal. Because they know that 9 times out of 10, I'm going to give them a good meal.
Right.
This was someone that probably wasn't going to give me a second chance.
Gotcha.
So I screwed it up.
Gotcha.
And I beat myself up over it because why? Why did I put it out? What stopped me from cooking another piece? And those are the mistakes that, just you hope you don't make them again. Just move forward. But I tell you, I knew it.
So, dude, I was watching.
Right.
You stick what you got, right? Yeah, of course. Yeah, if you feel it, that's what a normal.
And you're always right.
Exactly.
You're always right.
Yeah, your first instinct, right?
Always.
So I watched, what's that show with the guy John Tapper? He helps the bars and the restaurants.
Bar rescue.
But I seen him on a podcast, and he said, if you get a person to come to your restaurant 3 times, that they're in. So if someone comes 1 time, so he's like, that's the trick to try to get people to come. And he was coming up with ways to get them to come, like offering them something free the second time. Yeah. Do you find that if you really never paid attention to it that closely?
No, I do. I do actually pay attention to it, and that's like, so the way you get them in and the way you get them to come back, you can't let that go. Like, so if you, per se, you bought them a dessert the second time, to get them to come back the 3rd time.
Right.
Well, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th time, they're going to expect that dessert.
Gotcha.
So you have to be careful that you're not creating a monster either, because it does happen.
Gotcha.
In a place like mine where, just say the bill is $100, right? You got a $100 bill. Well, we're working on 27% profit, right? So if I buy dessert and coffee, right? So that's just say $17. Now a $100 bill just became $83. Am I really making anything on that table after I bought coffee and dessert? Probably not. But then at the same time, how am I keeping these people? How am I changing their perception from not going to the place around the block rather than coming to mine?
That's interesting.
And it is so tricky, and it's the hardest thing to do.
So when you're in the school, besides becoming a good chef, you have to learn the business part of it as well, right? So you kind of, but is it most times where, so you're the chef of your own restaurant? Is it times where people hire a chef? Is it, what is it more common? Is it?
Me being the chef owner, I think it's the only way to go.
Really?
Because even me being the chef and the owner, I still feel like the guys in the kitchen have me hostage sometimes. On a Saturday night, if one of them decides they want to start acting like an asshole, how am I sending that kid home? I can't. It's like you can't. So when they walk in, they're supposed to be there at 1 and they walk in at 2. I should be, go home.
Right.
You're an hour late.
Yeah. And you can't.
But I can't because I really can't function the rest of the night without them. And they know that.
That's tough.
And it is, that's the hardest part about business. A lot of people will tell you, hey, I'd have 10 more places if there was good people out there. But, again, if there was all those good people out there, then we probably wouldn't be in a position of that we're in now in being successful and
Right.
stuff like that.
Right.
So we almost prey on the dumbasses that are out there. Because if everybody was just as good as us what we're doing, then we probably wouldn't be doing what we're doing. So, but it is hard. And you know, once you get a crew, somebody was telling me just today, said, you know, you pay them a lot.
Overpay them, yeah, of course, because you don't. You got.
But when you're overpaying them, they're replaceable. They're replaceable because you're paying them such a high salary that, of course, someone else that's good is going to come in. You're paying them that much; it's a good job.
Right.
Whereas if you're paying them $800, $900 because they're not the greatest, but they get the job done, but you know, then are they really, you know, the value of just you overpay, you get what you got, they give you a good product, and then at that price, you should always be able to find somebody to work.
I remember my brother used to tell me the hardest guy to get was like a delivery guy that's reliable because you're not paying him that much. So how are you going to get quality? So it's again like what you said, like to make the job worth something and you want to have quality, you got to make it worth somebody's while. If it's not, right? And then if they're so good, they're going to say, I don't, why am I delivering it? I'm going to go, right? So it's one of those jobs that are tough, right?
You got to hope that you do business. The guys in my kitchen, some nights when it's not busy, I almost like, all right, good, in a weird way, like let them take a break time. Like it seems like after 6 or 7 nights in a row where they're just getting beat up and beat up and beat up, you can see they're like ticking time bombs because in their mind they're like, I'm doing all the work. This guy's making all the money,
right?
And you could always give them, but it's never enough.
I got you.
And it's never enough. I mean, you can give them bonuses. You know, guys, do go in the refrigerator, cook whatever you want, shrimp, lobster, steak. I don't care. Make yourself a nice dinner. Make it for your wife. Make it for your kids. I don't care. I try my best to be.
Who are you talking about? Other
I'm talking about just
waiters. What are the other people? But
the waiters, the busier it is, the more money they make.
Okay, so
to them,
so people you have people who help, and you're the head chef, what assistant? What is it called?
So I have my sous chef.
Okay.
I have a guy that does salads, and then the dishwasher, the guy that washes the pots and pans. He's making the least amount of money, and he's working harder than everyone.
Right, the grunts, that's a tough, of course, it's always like that, like what I said, right, exactly.
You know, so I overpay my dishwasher. The way I look at it is, he kills himself, the poor guy.
Right.
He kills himself, and I know some people are like, well, he doesn't speak English, you know, at least he's got a job. He doesn't speak English, he's a human being.
Right.
He's killing himself.
Right.
I mean, the guy works hard.
Right.
I would, you know.
Yeah.
I've done it before. It's so
definitely. I've done it in a pizzeria.
Oh, man.
It's probably not on our level. Yeah. Oh.
And then some, you know, God bless this guy. He stops. He just finishes it. He turns around. He's like, "Oh, what do you need?" You know.
Right.
When you get a guy like that, shit, I'll pay this guy.
That's it, bro. Yeah.
He doesn't understand this podcast, so I can say, "I'll pay you anything." Hopefully, no one translates it for him. Let me ask him for 2,000 tomorrow. Oh,
that's funny.
So yeah, they're good guys. Luckily, I got a good crew right now. It took me a long time. Though.
It takes time. It takes time. You got to build it, man. I talk about that all the time. Like people see you and they don't realize the work and the sweat of what it takes to get to where you're. I remember a year not making money in real estate. You know what I mean? It doesn't always start. You got to like put in the time and really to get things above, right? You ever see the thing with the iceberg and it says success on the top and then all this, you know what I mean? All the times you failed forward, right? To learn, right?
Absolutely. I remember when I was working at my other place, I was driving, you know, an old beat up car. And the way I looked at it is the car sits in front of the place for 13 hours a day. I get in my car in the morning, I drive it to the restaurant, come back and I park it on the street. I'm never in it. I'm not taking it to clubs, bars, or restaurants with my wife. So, you know, people would look at me like, well, why are you driving this car around? At first, a lot of it had to do with I really didn't have any money to buy it. My first year in business, I had no money. Second year in business, I had no money. Third year in business, we started making money. We put it back into the business. The fourth year, I literally would go around. I didn't have $1 in my pocket. Catholic school, the house we had just built and stuff like that. I'm just like, what am I doing?
Did you ever think about maybe this is not working?
Well, I knew at the time I could probably command a decent job
as a chef.
As a chef.
How much do chefs make?
So if you're good right now, just say me. If I wanted to go out right now, I can probably get $150,000 a year.
Okay.
Yeah, which is not even like that much nowadays.
Right. So what does the hours look like? But you're still going to be killing yourself the same way you are now, right?
Depending on what you get, like there's a guy. Again, I don't want to mention names.
Right.
But there's a guy that keeps resurfacing in all these restaurants, and the reason why he doesn't hang around too much is because he doesn't cook. So he becomes the head chef. He writes up a menu that's basically the same menu everywhere he goes. He goes into these places that already have a kitchen staff in place, and he walks around the place, makes $1,500 for about a year and a half or two, and then eventually they realize this guy's doing nothing. So you can keep, especially in the Bronx and Westchester, man, there's no good chefs out there. It's scary. If you ask 10 people that own a restaurant that the owner doesn't own it, it is hard to find a chef. Really, really hard. We're opening up a new place in about 3 months, and that's my biggest challenge. I'm going to have to find somebody. We just spoke about it today. So that's where the conversation came up about the money. I said, I would rather get a kid out of culinary school, train him. I'll lose all the time and all the energy I'm going to put into working this kid. But at the end of it, I'm going to tell him, next year, this is going to be you in another restaurant training another guy. And the guy tells me, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. I'm like, why? He's like, you should just get a guy that cooks and stuff like that. And I forget what it was like. And that was the point he made, and it still doesn't make too much sense to me. You want to have somebody that's replaceable. So pay somebody good from the get-go. Again, it's even coming out of my mouth. We had this long conversation this morning, and
But who is it? Someone that's involved with you?
This is a guy that's going to be involved with me. He's a marketing guy.
And he's giving you his idea on how you should.
When he said it, to be honest with you, it actually made sense.
Okay.
But I'm not articulating it the right way.
I got you.
It did make sense when he said it. But me, I was like, let's get a guy that's going to grow with us. But I guess his point was when they'll grow with you and they're going to do all these things. Now you put all this time and energy into them. Now you're going to be so afraid to lose them that they're basically going to come and go as they please. Whereas if you're just, all right, hey, you're great, you're a good
overpay.
chef.
Yeah, it's probably what you said before about the other guys. Like when they're late, you can't cut them off. You're going to be.
I'm going to put so much effort into this guy.
You're going to be.
I'm not getting rid of him now. I just put all that time and effort into
I understand it. Yeah.
So that was something that we were talking about today where, but at the same time, I'm not really comfortable with, like if I hire a chef and he's 3 years older than me. The way we were raised in the Bronx and stuff like that. If someone's older than me, I'm going to respect them. I'm going to have a hard time forcing that guy around. That's just my personality. That's just the way I am.
Right.
So to me, I would always want a young guy that I can mold, and I want somebody without any bad habits. If you're cooking something a certain way for 10 years, just because I told you you need to cook it like this, the first 2 times he's going to cook it the way I do it. But when shit gets busy and he's in the weeds, he's going to revert back to the way he knows it. And that's not going to be a good end for us.
In my business, we always talk about, we actually have classes for hiring talent, and it's called career visioning and how to build your team. And I feel the same way. I like to get people that I can mold the way I want to versus someone who has bad habits and they're going to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I found that harder.
And how was your how are the results? Like, have you mentored anybody yet? And like seeing like, wow, this kid is.
So that's where I want to do it. Like I've gotten people that weren't in the business and they've been very successful, but they were successful before they came. Whatever they were doing, so they had a track record.
Yeah.
But it's harder when people are doing things a certain way to get them to change the way they're doing it.
It's hard. And if you think you're going to change them, you're probably wrong. So again,
But I gotta tell you, people are scared of change, and for me, like I learned like. You see me sitting here doing this with you. Did I think I was going to be doing podcasts? I didn't even want to be on Instagram, but you need to do that. If you're going to, it's where you got to go. You got to go where the attention is.
It's funny when I looked you up today. I'm like, I never saw him on Instagram, Facebook, and anything. I never see him around with that. But that's
where the people are, right? Even if you don't. Listen, if you say, there's a saying like, we've always done this way, that you're dead. Like if you gotta change, like people don't change, they disappear. Even the old school realtors, they don't want to use the MLS, they don't want to people are buying houses off their phone. You don't have to like it, it's what's happening. That's it, right?
And you gotta hope that
you gotta conform to it, or you gotta just change your profession, or you're gonna become extinct. You can mean that, whatever you do, right?
There's a saying that they say, like, the other night I'm sitting in front of my TV now. When I get home, it's about 11:30. From 11:30 to about 2 in the morning, I mean, there's nothing better than it. Everyone in my house is sleeping. I'm by myself. I got the TV. I got my food. I chill out, move a little bit, and I literally relax. And nobody's bothering me. Nobody's calling me on my cell phone at that time of the night. I mean, it's the most, I look forward to it. So the other night I'm sitting there, I'm like, shit, this is gone. As soon as I open up this place, I'm going to have to be there for breakfast.
Right.
So this is done. The one thing that I actually love is gone. The next morning, I wake up and I read a quote that says, if you wake up every morning and you're comfortable about what you're doing every day of your life, and then you're going into a situation and you feel uncomfortable about it, you're exactly where you're supposed to be.
That's how you grow.
If
you're comfortable, you can't grow when you're comfortable, right?
Yeah. So I mean,
you felt like that's cool.
It's amazing how it happened. The next morning, I'm looking at this quote and I'm like, I was thinking about last night. Damn it! I guess I got to do this thing.
That's cool.
But yeah, it bothers me in the morning, But because it's going to be a breakfast and a lunch place. Where my place right now, we don't do anything for lunch. I wish I did. I'm going to try and build it up, and that's one of my goals that I have before I open this place. I have to get this lunch going.
But do you think sometimes there's a thing, right? Like I focus in Country Club, I focus in Pelham Bay, and then I'm like, maybe I want to start doing Scarsdale or Eastchester, but am I going to spread myself too thin where I'm not going to do as good as he? Or do you worry about that? Where,
of course I do.
Right? You got that other thing going good. Now you start to move here, all of a sudden, like that starts to soften up a little bit, and
Well, you're doing this thing that you do because I get, it's hard to say, like, to actually say the words and stuff like that. There's probably another good reason to put yourself out there, podcast, whatever it may be. You believe in yourself, or you wouldn't do it.
Right, of course.
So now if you believe in yourself and you have this special skill with, building teams and going out and being able to pick the right property and whatever it is that you can make money on, if it works for you in Country Club, it's probably more going to work for you in Scarsdale too. So
gotcha. Yeah, it's true, yeah. And I see with restaurants, right? Like we talked about. I don't want to bring up like Patricia's, how they open up. You have a formula, and then you could do another one, right? So somewhere else, and it usually works. Like once you have a winning formula, sneaker store, whatever, you know how to do it. You open up another one, right?
Absolutely. And people have told me over the years, you're making a lot of money, this, that, and the other. I really haven't made my money yet.
Right.
I really, really haven't. I try and live.
People say the same thing to me.
So I try and live as much as I could.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't buy anything for myself. I reap all the money.
You live below your means, and that's the trick, right?
But at the restaurant, when I give something away, we try and be extremely accommodating to everyone. These last 12 years at the restaurant weren't to make money. It was about to build a brand.
That's it.
So now,
that's it.
Patricia's, what they've done, now they could open up. Wow, this just slap that name on out there.
Yeah.
People know it's going to be a good
because
product.
they built the brand. Right?
That's it. So I haven't made money in the last 12 years, but I'm hoping that I'm building a reputation.
That's it.
And now.
Well, I'll tell you, I never ate there, but every person I talk to raised it tells me how amazing it is.
That's
So you are building a reputation.
Yeah. So and if I'm doing that, then I don't care that. I mean, hey, we live. The kids are going to Catholic school.
Yeah.
We go on vacations. We're living. Yeah. We're doing our thing. But I
You can always want more for your family, of course. But you're content with what you have. I'm the same way. People think like I'm this, like money's not my motivation. My motivation is to build a legacy and give stuff, right?
Yeah, and you want to feel successful.
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
Right.
You know what I mean? At the end, people are like, like now, I was even thinking, how it's a journey to success, what we're talking about today. And to me, it's like, well, no, I'm not a success.
No. Yeah.
Am I a success in my mother's eyes or my wife and my kids? Yeah. But man, I mean, to me right now, if I look at it, I'm like, shit, I'm probably 4 or 5 years behind.
I just started. Yeah, I didn't succeed anything. That's what you're saying. We have that people.
But that's a good mentality.
Yes, of course. Yeah, exactly.
That's what I want. I look at myself and I'm like, success.
Yep.
Shit, I didn't even do anything.
Dude, I think back, like we talk about basketball, and I love basketball, and I think back to games I lost. I don't ever think of stuff I win, right? They were talking about Brady, right? And Brady's like, he thinks about the giant game when he lost. You don't think about when he wins.
Yeah,
That's how your brain's gotta work. When you win, you're supposed to win. It's when you lose that you got
1,000%.
Right?
1,000%. And it's just a good way to move forward.
That's
man.
it.
It really is.
But you know what? I've learned as I gotten older. It's nice to smell the roses sometimes and realize you've made it. Like I took a mastermind the other day and it was a great class. We had a lot of the top agents, and he said it's good every once in a while to say, look, I came this far. Of course, we're not where we want to be. We want to keep going, but it's not bad to acknowledge what you did. So, you know what I mean, right?
Absolutely. And that's why, I'm into writing the goals. And I know it's cliche.
No, dude, you
but
have
when you write it,
then they become reality.
And then you reach
dude, it's
it.
awesome.
Now you're like, oh, shit, let me write down some more of these things, and I'm going to reach them again.
I do like a 5-year plan. You got to do that.
It really, really works.
All successful people do that stuff. You read, right? You have to. If you don't know where you're going, how are you going to get there, right?
It's a long way to go when you don't know where you're going. You don't know where you're going when you're lost. That's for sure.
Exactly.
But so the goal thing was something that a few things that I remember from school. That was one of them. We all wrote down our goals, and that thing I kept with. I do a 5-year plan every time, and I've been able to really blow them away so far.
That's great.
And this new one now I'm doing crazy. I mean, it took me years to save money, and now in 10 years I saved X amount of dollars. In the next 6 months, I want to save half
of what you did in 10 years.
Of what I did in 10 years. And I guarantee I'm going to freaking do it.
Yeah, I believe.
I don't know how,
but
I'm going to do it. Because that's the money I need to put up for this other place. And I do not want to touch the money that I have that took me that long to go. I'm scared to touch that.
Right.
And I just said it today. I wrote it down. I got 6-7 months to do it. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. I know I am.
So what would you say to people who are thinking about opening up a restaurant?
Don't open up a
restaurant. I knew you were going to say that. Every person I have on, I said, we said lawyers, don't be a lawyer.
So if you're a chef and you've been successful for someone else, I say go for it. I do. If you have been managing a place and they are super successful and you have somebody that you can get in the kitchen, go for it. But there's places that open up left and right that have no business doing it.
Right.
And for instance, there was a guy in Yonkers that opened up by the tuxedo place. He was a lawyer. Came to see me in the kitchen. Giorgio, I got this place. I want to open it up. I'm like, bro, what are you doing right now? I'm a lawyer. So what makes you think you can run a restaurant?
Right.
Well, because I eat there all the time. And, I know what people want.
Let me ask you, do you get offended by that? I got to tell you, I get it. Like a lot of people think the same thing. They're going to get their license to be a millionaire. Right? They don't realize I'm working on what you have to do to be successful in real estate. There's 100 agents, like 20 of them are making money in an office. You understand what I mean? People think you get like
walking in today. When I just said expand, I'm like, oh man, that's more competition and stuff like that. Right. But I guess, listen, if you're good at what you do, you're going to be successful.
That's it.
And you can, like, the cream will always rise to the top.
That's it.
It really does.
Yeah.
Especially with, like, all the things that are going on right now with, people struggling with money and business and that. If you can make it in this time, when we get the uptick, we're going to be in good shape.
You're right.
I believe in that. So, I think our future is bright for people our age.
But I also think the motivation can't be money. And I talk about this with my team. It's like, you got to have, like, I want a vision, like a mission, like for you, like you care about the people that are coming to your restaurant. For me, like I sold some guy's house in Country Club. He was like, yo, you help my life, my family. Like that feels good, bro. And then to get paid for that, you know what I mean? Like, right?
You selling somebody a home.
That's a big thing in people's lives, and they're entrusted me for that.
What bigger thing?
I say that all the time. It's their most valuable asset. You're trusting me to handle the deal. And that's a very big responsibility.
And now in 10 years, so my friend, again, the same guy I'm talking about today, he's taking X amount of dollars from the bank because when he bought the house,
he's got equity now.
He got a good price.
Now he's got equity.
And he's basically getting that nice money.
Yeah.
Now what's happening? It's making his life.
That's
like
it, bro.
It's
giving him the opportunity to do the rest, right?
Huge what you guys are doing.
Right.
Huge. And a lot of people don't give a shit. just want to push
Yeah,
that
do it
loan
for a dollar.
forward.
Yeah, do it for a dollar. You know what I mean? Yeah.
The lady that helped me when I bought my house, the mortgage I had was one of the reasons why America went down tubes, because I actually signed a no income verification loan.
Okay.
They gave me my house on a freaking, he'll pay it,
Right.
basically.
Right.
That's
when was this?
Like 12 years ago.
Okay.
So,
all right.
2009,
okay.
I guess,
right.
something like that. The interest was high, but it was no interest only for the first 7 years. And then obviously once I started getting my shit together, because I was getting paid cash. And at the time they had called me a ghost. I kept buying used cars, and then I had nothing.
You don't exist. Yeah,
I didn't exist. The guy that I was working for at the time says, "Do me a favor." He goes to see Kenny Hicks at Acura in Westchester. Anybody needs a car, go see Kenny. And he says, "Look, I'm vouching for this kid." The guy calls up the bank in front of me and says, "I got a ghost here." I don't know what they said on the other line, but he's like, "Put the kid through." So I winded up buying a new car at the time. As I started making the payments on that car, it just changed everything. With that damn car, I was able to get a loan at a real bank for a real, so it just, things can happen, man. That's one thing people don't realize. You put your mind to it, like we've been saying, and you
100%.
Things can happen.
In 5 years, that's the thing. People are always like, "Oh, I can never do this." You gotta have patience, but you also gotta work hard at it. It goes fast, but you gotta be patient. Like little progress, like you said. Like look how long it took you. Look how long it took me to get where we are, and then we start to make money. You know what I mean? So people don't want to do that though. People want the results quick. That's right, instant gratification, and people are not willing to people say they want nice things and they want it, but they're not willing to do
when
what
you try
it
to get quick results, man, you're
exactly.
Gonna fail.
They don't
You're
understand.
gonna fail probably.
There's no magic. People looking for shortcuts. There is no shortcut. It's what you do every day, right?
But that's the other thing. Then when you ask me about what would I tell somebody opening a restaurant? So you're 50 years old. You get dropped from a big company because they're going younger or whatever, they're closing. Now you want to make money. What's a quick way to make money? Open up a restaurant. What do
you think people have this?
Right,
you think people have
it happens all the time. Yeah. If you watch these shows,
I'm like, it's the hardest thing, maybe because I saw my brother and I knew
there's another
life. Like there, right?
There's 2 places within a 5 or 6 mile radius that are opening up. I don't think they stand a chance. I'm so not saying it with a bad. Really, I'm not.
No, because you know what it takes.
I honestly, the guy next door to me owned a kosher deli. We opened up at the same time. Comes into the restaurant about 3 weeks ago and he's like, "I'm closing." I'm like, "What is it? Another Jewish holiday?" Jewish holidays.
It was Purim last Thursday.
Yeah, Purim Shalom. So I said, "I'll see you next week." He's like, "No, I'm closing." I'm like, "Bullshit." I go next door. Everything is 50% off. 2 days later, store is clean.
What is that? Like pastrami sandwich, still $20. 50% off. They're like $40.
I know. It was a beautiful store.
Really?
But a big store went 2 miles away from them and put them out of business. You see this guy, the way he suffered losing this business. I went to the auction. Says, "Come by the auction. Maybe there'll be something."
Meaning what? He's selling the
all the equipment and everything like that. The anguish in his eyes.
How long was he there?
And everything. We opened up at the same time.
Oh,
He's my boy.
That's tough.
And he was like, "You buy it." I'm like, "Bro, I can't. I saw him like crying. He was crying.
What, so by the store he meant?
Because like just.
But when you run out of business, you can't sell the business anymore. There's no business.
Well, I thought he made a mistake. I think he could have even dumped it for $20,000, better than nothing.
Right.
He thought he was going to make more money on just selling each bit and piece. He bought a chopper for $16,000 4 years ago. You know how much he got for it in the auction? $650. So the guy that bought it made a score because he's going to bring it back down to his store in Manhattan. He's going to sell it for $5,000. When I tell you, when that thing sold, he started hysterical crying. The guy went and talked. So like, if people are in business and they're not doing well, you call me, man. I'll help you. I will. Just so I don't see anybody lose their livelihood or their business, because it is the most rotten thing to watch somebody go through. I know myself when I wasn't doing well in the beginning, and I had customers. The place was full. I just didn't know how to make money. There is an art to making money.
Right.
Holding on to it.
Definitely.
Knowing what you have to pay, what you don't have to pay. don't be late on taxes, don't be late on this. There's a lot of things that come up,
You don't got to tell me. Yeah.
Where you could be doing everything right. You're just doing one thing
or
wrong.
You're just not tracking it. So people in the real estate business, people don't even like you're doing this. You don't know what's going out, so you really don't even know how much money you make sometimes if you don't track it, right? And you don't get serious about it, treat it like a business. A lot of people, realtors, don't treat it like a business.
It took me a while to
understand
learn
that aspect of it. Yeah.
Because I was running the kitchen too.
Right. You're wearing a lot of hats.
It was a lot.
Yep.
Now.
For me, I had to actually bring someone in to do that part of it. And
I probably should.
And that's when
I probably should. I got a young kid right now that's working with me where I keep promising him things, and I keep promising that. And I'm not doing it purposely where I'm promising him I'm not delivering. But I keep telling him, we have to sit down. You have to bring me a plan, benefits, how much you want to make a year, and we will make it happen. I can't lose this guy.
Right.
First of all, I love him to death.
Right.
He is clean cut. He's got it all. Smart.
Driven.
He's the guy. I want to keep him with me.
That's it.
And if I don't ship up on this fast, I am going to lose him because he keeps getting offers.
I'm sure.
You know, and it should be at the top of my list. It is on the top of my list. But every day, and even people will tell you, you can write a plan in the morning for your day at the restaurant business. Once you open up that door, you don't know how the day's going to go. You try your best to follow that plan, but a lot of shit happens. A lot.
Are you still having fun with it?
I have fun every day.
Yeah. You love it. Your heart's still in it.
I do, and I love my restaurant. I want it to be successful, and I want it to be like and it has the possibility of being like the next little Rails, where it's just busy every night. And
is that the goal?
Yeah, it is. It is. There's no reason why it can't be, especially the way I see, restaurants in Westchester, the way they're running and everything like that. My goal is to get more Italian people involved in the place, to authenticize it a little bit.
You're doing,
yeah. And it's not because of being biased or anything like that.
That's your product.
And it's
so talk about it.
When we go places,
what's
Calabrese food is it's southern style of cooking. Obviously, they were a little bit less. They were a little poorer than the north. So when you cook in the south, you have to really know how to use every part of the animal, how to preserve stuff. So a lot of our stuff is, things that, like I said in the beginning, a cheaper product that you could turn into something magical. So they were always using, there's a story about Calabrese cuisine where they would take the pork. The Calabrese people would get the belly, the ass, the tongue, the cheeks, and then they'd ship the rest of the piece up to Milan, where the rich people would get the loin, the chops, and all that. So Calabrese people had to learn how to use the cheaper cuts and make it into something very, very delicious. But what they ended up doing was they ended up coming up with ossobucos, short ribs.
Ossobuco, it can be pork or veal, because I love ossobuco.
Yeah.
What's better?
Really depends. They're both tender and delicious. I love them both. I really do. Veal ossobuco is double the price. So a lot of times at the restaurant, I'll sell the pork ossobuco just because I don't want to have a special. It's freaking $45. Veal ossobuco is, it's very expensive, but it's delicious. And it takes a lot of time and effort to cook and do it the right way. I mean, some people just take it. Oh, it's got to go in the oven for 3 hours. A little sauce, put it in the oven, leave it there for 3 hours, take it out. Shit, it's dry. It'll be tender, but it's dry. Yep. When you see mine, you open it up. This is a piece of meat that's been in the oven for 4 hours, and when you open it up, it's still pink in the middle.
Nice.
It's incredible, and that takes time.
So I got to tell you, I'm at a restaurant with some people, like work people, and I order veal. And people got mad at me, and they started telling me like how the veal's treated. You got to deal with that at your restaurant. Do you ever get people saying stuff like that? Yeah. I was like, dude, what is this, a food intervention? Like, come on, man. Like,
hey, listen, it's pretty awful what they do. I mean, you know the story, what they do, these things.
The veal, he started, they told me that. And that's when he got upset. So the dude got upset. I was like, dude,
so what is he?
I'm at an Italian restaurant. Why are you taking me to an Italian restaurant?
What is he?
You got the salmon. I said, do they treat the salmon nicer? You know what I mean? Like,
they're pumping the salmon with carotene.
Dude, what's the deal with that with the tilapia? I used to like tilapia. I saw all these things. Should I not eat it?
No.
Never.
Nope.
Okay.
So what they do with the tilapia, all right, you get the branzino. Branzino's cooked fish.
Okay.
I love branzino.
What is that, like a sea bass?
It's a Mediterranean sea bass.
Okay.
Right? So you get, now, we wouldn't have any fish in the ocean if everybody ate straight out of the ocean. So now they have the farm raised fish. What they do is Bronzino goes into the tank. They grow. They take them out of that tank. Now all the residue and the shit and their gills and everything is on the bottom of this tank. And the tilapia goes in and they eat all that shit. And that's how they grow. So they call bottom feeders.
Okay.
They feed off of the bottom of the shit.
Okay.
So it's kind of gross.
Yeah, I see the videos. I see the videos. They're all on top of each other, probably in a small friggin' thing.
Yeah. So what are you supposed? It's delicious. White, flaky, delicious fish.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So what are you supposed to? So you're supposed to get wild caught? Is that what you're looking for?
Wild caught is more expensive, but I mean
that's the deal, right? That's the deal. Okay.
Farm raised, you know, they're putting I think heavy mercury in it, like salmon nowadays. When I get the salmon, it's a little bit. Sometimes you would see it's like a little opaque, like not that beautiful red color. A couple of weeks ago, my brother-in-law brings me my fish. Cosenza Fish Market plug. So he sends me a fish, and it was gorgeous. I mean, beautiful orange. I'm looking at it, I'm like, man, I don't even want to cook this thing. Just serve it raw. It's that beautiful. I called up. I'm like, yo, what's up with the salmon? He goes, oh, why? What do you see wrong with it? I'm like, I don't see anything wrong with it. It's beautiful and orange. He was like, yo, I've been buying the salmon for 3 months. You're the first one to say something about it. I'm like, I'm not complaining. I think it's gorgeous. I was like, just, you know, what makes it different than the other ones? They shoot carotene, which is, I guess, a vitamin that comes out of carrots, into the salmon to make it more orange and bright. So, I mean, that's just something that I found out about. Could you imagine the shit that they're putting? I bought a chicken the other day. The thigh was like this. Chickens don't grow that big. It's not
normal.
It's not normal. So when they're growing that big and you're eating a piece of chicken that's this big, I mean, it's jazzed up with some steroids.
But you think that's why people are getting sick?
Absolutely,
really?
100,000%.
Like cancer and stuff like that.
When you get a minute and you're home and you just relax and watch Food Inc. It's on Netflix.
Somebody told me about that. Like with the corn, was it
tough?
Yeah,
it's tough to watch. It's tough to watch. It really is. So I try my best to buy good food. I tell you one thing, man. You go to my restaurant, you're eating good stuff. You are.
So, have you ever? What is like your main dish? Do you have like your home run dish or not?
I do. I have a couple of them.
Because when I'm coming soon,
so one of them, the fish that everybody seems to like is the orange ruffy.
Orange ruffy. Someone told me about that.
It's a sweet potato encrusted white fish. It's really good. The pasta dish is something that I created. It's simple, but it's really delicious. The rigatoni di Giorgio has filet mignon tips, zucchini. It has that demi-glaze, a little cream. It's rich. It's flavorful.
These are special, or is it always on the menu?
Those two are actually on the menu. And then, basically, what I like to cook the most is my specials. I mean, we do 12 specials a night. I go shopping in the morning. Whatever's the most beautiful thing I can buy, I grab it, go back, we cook it up, and those are the specials of the night.
That's cool.
Yeah. So that's kind of, you know, if you look on Yelp and Zagat and all that, that's one of the things they say is that makes us a little bit different. Is the array of specials that we pull out every night. And I don't make specials like to get rid of stuff. I really, really don't. Like I'll put all my swears on that one. You know, the specials are special. They really are. And some people, you know, they created, back in the day, you created specials so that you could get rid of product that is getting old or product that you need to, you know, push out because you bought it at a good price or whatever the case may be. My specials are meant to be, you know, the best thing of the night. So if you come to the restaurant, you should order the specials.
I will definitely do that.
Definitely.
So we got to, of course, touch on the Chopped episode. Like, first of all, my kids love the cooking stuff. They have me watching all of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me, how was that experience?
It was a great experience.
First of all, how did it come to be? Just somebody told you about it?
It came to be because my buddy up the block at Fratelli's, they were breaking his chops to go on. And he didn't want to go on.
So they go looking for people?
I don't know exactly how they reached out to him. I really don't know how it got that far. But he was literally on the phone with them. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, God, it's an effing show. I don't want to go on it. I'm like, what show is that, Chuck? I'm like, I'll go on.
And
I've been dying to go on. I sent the videos for
This wasn't too long ago. So this was a couple years ago.
What, 2 Marches ago, I think now?
Okay.
It seems like yesterday. It really does.
But you were already good. Like you were ready, going on the show. Like it wasn't like you just started out. You were ready to cook.
Oh yeah. Well,
so you're going in there. You're going in there as a favorite.
Everybody was kind of in the same boat as I was on the show.
So there's all the talented.
Yeah, they're all talented people. Yeah, one girl, I say, I don't think she had any business being on there, but I think she was trying to be an actress. Some people just want to get in front of the tube.
FaceTime, right?
They want to get on the tube.
Okay. Like Giorgio, they go on, they don't even have a problem.
Right,
they just want to
go on it. Right. My new favorite show, by the way.
Love
awesome.
Giorgio, yes.
Man, so awesome. So, one thing led to another. He gave them my name. They called me at the restaurant. I thought it was fake. I told them, like, yeah, whatever. They call me in for an interview. I do the interview. Go through a few interviews.
Where is it? Where is it?
Chelsea Market.
Okay.
So, they got to make sure you actually know something.
Okay.
They don't want to make a fool of themselves.
Right. Or put you out there. And,
once you're there, they got to film that show that day.
Right.
You can see how serious everything is.
It's not like American Idol. They're not looking for people to bomb out. Like, you know what I mean? They want you to be good.
I'll say it afterwards, but so
is it different judges or they're the same judges all the time?
There's different judges all the time.
And
I have to get my 3 favorites.
Okay,
yes.
cool.
Yeah, I have to get my 3 favorites.
Okay.
And in the beginning, I even played a little Amanda Freitag was there. I think she's cute, real lady chef.
Right.
She's pretty. So I told the producer, I'm like, oh my God, I hope Amanda's one of my judges today because we didn't see that.
Right.
She was like, why? I'm like, oh, I got a huge crush on her. She was like, oh my God, you have to say that when you go out there.
Right.
So they played that whole
thing up. I got you.
And I even said, oh, my wife's not going to like this too much. But, the whole experience was amazing. I thought when I would go on the show that I would be nervous about, when they ask you, what did you make today? You have to explain your dish and so on and so forth. And I would be fine with the cooking. Because, frankly, at my restaurant, people come in, say you come in next week. And you're like, George, make me whatever you want. Well, at that point, I literally am going to look at my stuff. I'm like, okay, this. And I wind up making a great dish out of it. So I really said, I do it every day.
Well, so let's tell everybody what the premise is. So that you go on.
So there's you and 3 other people. Each of you get the same basket. So you all get the same ingredients. You open up your basket, and in the time frame that they give you for your first course, you get 20 minutes. You open up the basket. You can use all the stuff.
Right, they might be like, but is there weird stuff? Do they do it on purpose? Use weird stuff? Do you remember what the ingredients were?
I was set up to win, man. I mean, every basket that I opened
was things you were familiar with.
Things that I was familiar with and things that played to my strength.
Oh.
So, I mean, it just wasn't my day.
Gotcha. So we'll go through it. So the first round.
So the first round we got.
And you got to make what? A dinner? The first round?
The appetizer.
Also, you go through the course of the meal. They do appetizer, main course, dessert. Is that what it is?
Yes.
I should know this. I watch it. There's so many different ones that I mix them up.
There is a lot of them. But that one, so we do the first course. The time was so, but when I looked up, I remember I opened up the basket, I started cooking. The first time I looked up at the clock, there was 2 minutes left. I'm like, 18 minutes, way to go. Like that.
Okay.
You got cameras really coming in front of your face out of nowhere. The cameras that hang from the ceiling that go back and forth, wires all over the floor. It's nerve-wracking. You got the judges are screaming your name, and it was intense. A great intense. It felt like you're playing in the biggest game of your life.
Okay.
So just picture that.
Right.
And I can't say, man, I've definitely buckled under the pressure.
The first round.
But
can you? As long as you hanging, do they cancel? So it's 4 people. How many people are there? 4, and they get rid of 1 after the first round.
The lady tells you in the beginning. She goes, "Look, the show is set up for you guys to fail because it's got to be good TV. So we want the clock to be your enemy. We want the food to confuse you, and at the end, you should be, just play
it in there.
Good TV."
Yeah.
She says, "But don't try and impress the judges. Don't try and make the best thing you've ever made. Just make better food than the guy standing next to you, and you move on.
That's it.
You look at it like that, you're going to be fine." I said, all right. I know that. I had plans. I went through mock things. I prepared for this thing like like I prepared.
You knew what ingredients you were going to get?
No, I didn't. But I just prepared and I practiced. So
just in case I get this, I'm going to do this.
I practiced little baking things that I could use at any situation.
Gotcha.
I mean, I was prepared for it. I really was.
You had the 5 month sauces ready.
I had the 5 months. I had those 5 months sauces ready. You know what I'm saying? So towards the end, I make it to the last round, and I really was the star of the show. I really, really was. They loved me. I was playing with the judges.
Was there anybody that you thought like this?
The other guy was very
talented. One person that you said this guy might beat me. I got the other two. Did you know who the problem was? You know what I'm saying? When you're playing ball, you know who you got to beat.
From the get go.
Right.
So the last round, like I said, I'm moving and grooving. I was doing so well that I said I'm going to start a plan B, just in case shit goes wrong. I have a plan B. That's how good I was actually doing in the last round. It was the first time I opened up the basket, and I knew as soon as I opened it what I was going to make.
The last one.
The last one.
Dessert?
Yeah, dessert. And I'm not really great with desserts.
Okay.
So when I opened it up, I'm like, oh, I know exactly what I'm making. I'm making an apple.
So you think at this point you were ahead of the field?
Ahead of the field, it definitely was. Things went wrong where you couldn't imagine. They even told me several times, Giorgio, you're doing amazing. Just keep your head on straight because stuff like this has never happened in 30 episodes. They went to judge my second dish, the pork chop, second dish, all right? They tasted the first one. They tasted the second one. They tasted the third one. They get to mine. This is Scott Conan. He has his fork in his mouth like this. He's about to eat it, and the fucking fire alarms go off. And the fire went off in the 10th floor. The building had to evacuate. We're outside in the rain for 2 hours. And I'm like, they didn't taste my pork chop. Right. I was the only pork chop. It's going to be dried out. Right. It's going to be a disaster. So I'm going up to the judges. We're talking. We're outside. I was the only one. It was like everybody, and then it was me and the judges hanging out. I was becoming friendly with them, just being like the way we are.
Right.
Yeah. And they told me, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We go back inside, and it's dry. The potatoes are muddled. I'm like, is this fucking guy serious? What's it is? He's been sitting there for 2 hours. Take it into consideration. Right. So now I'm like this. I'm going to lose in this round. The girl, and you could see.
So there's only 2 of you left. Right?
There was 3 at that point. Okay. You could see at the end of that round, when I finished my pork chop, you can see me. I'm like this. Yeah. I knew I nailed it. I mean, I made a perfect dish. I nailed it.
By the way, I have problems with pork chops, but I'm not a chef. Because you want to make sure it's cooked, but you do it a little too far and dry, right? So you gotta hit it perfect, right? So what is it? The time when you see it, tell me. Give me a tip so I can.
On the pork chop, I think a good sear is very important on the outside to hold in the juices.
Okay.
And I'm not too much. I don't like to put it in the oven as much as people like to.
On the top, you're frying.
Yeah, I like to cook it on the top.
But so how do you know? Like me, I pull it early or I pull it late.
Yeah. Let me see. I can't show this on the podcast. So look. Put your hand out like this. Touch that. That's rare. Okay? Now touch it. A little tougher, right?
Mm-hmm.
Medium. Medium well. Well done. Medium well. That's another tip we I think
so what you
you gotta feel it. If it comes back,
I know you can't see this, but he showed me on my thumb. We're feeling like a part of your hand underneath your thumb. So what you feeling with a fork? Or?
So if there's resistance, like if you're touching the meat and it bounces back up, there's some spring in it. It's still raw on the inside. You don't want to stick something in it and see if the juice
and then it's gonna dry. It's over. Yeah.
So I've been doing it for a long time now.
So you feel it. Yeah, you got it. So you nailed it.
I mean, I still screwed up that lady's piece of meat a couple of weeks ago. You know what I mean? It happens.
Right.
But I knew that one was screwed up. But I still sent it out. That was my mistake.
Right.
So
you nailed it.
I nailed it. Right. Moving on. I go to the last round. It was an apple dessert. So I have these beautiful apples cooking in like they gave us bitters. So I took the bitters and I made like the stuff that I love to drink, the Ginato, Amados, or Amazzotis. And I had oranges and nuts, and I had this beautiful mixture going that was cooking the apples in this mixture. I was going to drain the apples, make my apple donut with those, and then use that sauce that I was cooking in for my sauce. I had a cream. I mean, I had the perfect dessert. So there was 12 minutes on the clock. I go to get this other apple working, and I nick myself. I wipe it on my pants. I'm like, all right, I'm not saying nothing about this cut. Then I look at it again. I'm like, you know what? I'm doing good with time. I tell them cut. They come back. They clean me up.
Does everybody keep going?
They're still working.
They still go.
They're still working.
Do they stop your clock?
No.
Oh.
The clock's going. Right? But I'm still doing good with time. They clean me up. I get back. The lady brings me the machine where I was making the cream in. And I remember making the joke and saying, oh, who says you don't have a sous chef on the show? She brings me the machine. I go, boom. I start going. I said to the lady, she says, throw out your apples, throw out the cream. I says, okay, I'll throw those out. I said, the apples I have cooking I did from the beginning. I said, those are good, right? She goes, you're good. Throw out the cream, throw out the apples, you're good. Now, 3 minutes left. I got my donut mixture, right? I had to go to the fryer with it. My dishes are all set. The mint, the cream, the sauce was out. I had the dots on the dish. I mean, perfect. All I had to do was lay the donut, little powdered sugar, and then maybe I would have dressed it up if I had.
Don't tell me you didn't play. I don't want to. I'm going to be heartbroken.
So I'm at the fryer. The lady comes up to me. Now, mind you, remember I said we were hanging out outside. So we kind of had like a little bit of relationship. Yeah. She comes over. She has the earpiece in the ear, and she's like,
"This is the cute one."
No, she was the judge. This is the producer. Right. Producer ladies. So she comes and she's like, Giorgio. She's covering her eyes. I'm like, what? She's like, oh my God, Giorgio. I'm like, what? I'm like, the clock is ticking. What's up? She's like, the apples you had, we reviewed the tape. I guess they go back and they watch it as the show is actually going. She's like, it may have been contaminated with the blood. She goes, you have to get rid of everything. Get rid of everything. I said, there's 3 minutes left. I said, I asked you specifically. I said, if you go back on the tape, like you say you did, go back in the tape. And I asked you, were those apples good? I could have started something fresh from there. They said, for the first time in 30 seasons or 30 episodes, one or the other, they never stopped the clock. They stopped the clock. They got us all together. It's me and the other guy. They asked me first, how much time do you need to finish it? They felt terrible.
Was the other guy cool? Was the other guy cool, or he was being in the clock? What was he like?
They screwed up, so they knew it. So like, Giorgio, how much time do you need to finish this? I said, there was 12 minutes on the side. I said, give me 8 minutes. I know what I'm making at this point. I said, give me 8 minutes. I'll put something on the dish. She's like, okay, fair enough. How do you feel about that? They asked the other guy, you okay with that? He's like, absolutely not. I'm not okay with giving him extra time. Why would you give him extra time? They didn't give me the extra time. I had 3 minutes. I fucking whipped something up. I put it on the dish. I still freaking thought I had a chance to win. That's how I lost. I wasn't losing that thing.
But let me ask you, when the show played, did they mention the blood? They didn't mention that. You all got it.
You can see the Band-Aid. A lot of people think it was the truffle. So I put like a dot of truffle in the mashed potatoes when I cooked the pork chop. But because it was sitting outside for 2 hours, I guess when it got cold, all they tasted was the truffle. So they said it was too much. So a lot of people think it was the truffle. I also bought a brand new set of knives, beautiful knives that I should have never done. If anybody goes on that show, use the knife you use every day. That's what you're supposed to do.
Right.
I opened up a bottle of beer.
Was too sharp or you just weren't used to it?
I opened up a bottle of beer with the I fucking wound up taking off the whole top of the beer.
Oh, shit. And
I didn't even know it. I'm about to pour the beer and they're like, Giorgio, you just cut the fucking thing in half. You didn't notice that? I'm like, no. I didn't even notice. I took the whole... You gotta watch the episode again.
I will, yeah, definitely.
It was a good episode. Now I tell you, you're wind up realizing, like, holy shit, all that happened.
What do you win if you win? Money?
10 grand.
10 grand.
But it wasn't about the 10 grand.
I know.
You know what it was about?
Yeah.
You get to put up a banner in front of a restaurant, Chop Champion. That's like worth...
Yeah, a lot more than 10.
And it stays forever.
Right.
You know what I mean? We never got like a real big push
from
the restaurant.
B division champs.
Exactly. B division champs, man. But that's the best. Just like today, and people are like, but you did so good, you made it to the final round. Like, there was 4 of us. 2 people went home, and then it was me and that guy. You know, like, it didn't feel, but the whole thing was cool. And they have been promising me that when the redemption shows come, I'm going to be the first one on the list.
Nice.
I mean, they really felt terrible.
Right.
And then, you know, when we're doing the exit interviews, I was miserable. Like a
and you can't say it.
Miserable. Yeah. I had to basically do the interviews at 1 a.m. Like, I just showed up in the morning, so I had to pretend that day never happened. And I'm like, how do you want me to act right now?
Yeah.
I just lost because of some shit that you people did. Yes. the crybaby, sore loser in me,
Came out.
blamed nothing on myself. It was all their fault. Obviously, if I didn't nick myself, shit never happens.
Right.
But I still blamed it all on them.
So what did you say?
I was miserable, but I didn't want to do those things. And they promised me, they said, look, we promise you, you are going to be the focal point of the show. And I was. I was the only one that they showed my family. They did, like, in the middle of the show, they did a whole little segue into, like, showing my family at the park, and we're walking around. Before and after every commercial, I was the face on the thing. Coming back from the commercial, first face was me. Going into the commercial, it was me. So, I mean, I got the airtime, I got the space, and I just didn't get the money. And I didn't get to just say the champion.
Right.
You know, say that I was the chop champion. But
it definitely, I mean,
all in all, it was
right,
awesome, man. And I got to be on TV for my kids. That night, I didn't tell anybody what happened. So I guess when I was 6 months later, I had about 60 people in my house. Everybody sitting on the floor, you know, watching it. That night was probably the best night of my life. It was awesome watching everybody's reaction.
Cool.
When I lost,
that's cool.
I'm sitting next to my mother, my sisters, everybody. When they showed that last one came up and I lost, man, the reactions. They
Really?
were crying.
Oh, you didn't tell them if you...
Nobody knew. Nobody. The whole house. The only one that knew was my wife. Yeah,
that's cool.
It was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun. It really was. That night was worth it all. Just doing that with everybody. We had a good time.
So I appreciate you sharing everything with us.
No doubt.
Yeah, and but when I end, I kind of ask 3 questions. I'm going to ask, and then it's going to be
Sure.
I don't know if you know, I asked your favorite, because basketball favorite,
All right,
NBA player, favorite rapper, and
right.
favorite rap, either song or album. So we'll start with the NBA player. Who's your favorite guy?
Man, my favorite NBA player right now.
It don't have to be right now. My guy's Bird. Dude. It don't got to be
so
now.
your
It could be
favorite player all
whatever. Ever.
You know, man, I wrestled with this one a little bit, only because up until now, he was always my favorite. I guess I'll say Magic Johnson.
Okay.
But him giving away Russell and Randall makes me question his ability of running a team. But
Right.
player-wise,
yeah.
Magic Johnson. I can say that.
I love Magic.
Yep, he's still my favorite.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite?
Larry. Yeah.
Trying to show Giorgio how to shoot the ball like that. Man, what a shot. Huh?
Dude, but how about watching them just when they used to play each other? It was so different then, right, dude? I can't even.
Did you see the documentary they did on HBO?
Oh, of course. Yeah. I seen it 100%. Yeah, it was the courtship of Rob.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I love how they were such, like, they hate each other, but then at the end, that's the guy who they respected the most.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's cool.
And that's the best thing.
Yep.
You know, that's the best thing, like what we said before we started taping.
Exactly.
You know, if you don't
They
have
raised each
somebody
other.
that
Yeah,
drives
you need it, right? Ali
Really?
and Frazier, you need that guy.
You do. You truly do. Favorite rap, I would say Nas.
Nice. That's 2 in a row with Nas.
And my favorite album was probably Illmatic. And New York State of Mind was probably
that. You know what's funny? I just got. I was telling everybody serious, and then because I got a new car, and I got the Rock and Bells radio, dude. That's all I listened to, bro.
How awesome is that?
And I mean, that album when it came out, I remember it was like so far ahead of its time. You know what I mean? It's still amazing.
Like that was like, you know, driving around with your windows down, listening to that was just to me, and it just felt New York.
Dude,
Very New York.
Do you agree with me? Like with the new stuff, I can't even listen. Like the mumble and stuff. Like hip hop was about that. Like about words. Right? Yes. Yeah, my kids are like, I fight with them.
What are they listening to? I don't even know what it is. It's weird music, man. I'll tell you, it's not real. It's not like you said. There's no lyrics.
Yeah, that's what
lyrics? What are they talking
I don't
about?
know. They're like mumbling,
you know,
like just words.
And they can't really be talking about anything like Illmatic.
Right.
That album talked about the streets.
Yeah, and he put the words together and everything.
Awesome.
Yes. Yeah.
That Charcoal Quest.
I love Charcoal Quest. Love In Theory.
Yeah. I guess the newer people, I don't really know them.
No,
I really don't.
There's nobody to know.
I know. I love what's his name? What's the guy singer? I don't even know his name right now.
Like what?
The singer now, Shawn Mendes. Shawn Mendes, I think he's amazing.
Yeah, my kids like.
I like him. I like him a lot. I think
Definitely.
he's amazing. So that's and then did I get your answers?
Perfect.
Last one?
Yeah. So much continued success. I know you're doing well. Great and good luck with the new place. I'm sure it's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, we'll let you know.
And I can't wait to try this one.
Yeah.
And thank you for coming.
All good things to come, my man.
Yes. Always a pleasure, brother. Thank you.
Likewise. Good to get to know you a little bit more too.
Yes. Appreciate it.